Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nothing's Impossible podcast. I'm Mark Bradley, a life insurance broker out of Portland, Oregon, and agency owner of Rooted Financial Group Agency.
And I'm Troy Brugger. I'm with Su Casa Real Estate, powered by EXP, located in Austin, Texas.
Now, let's get it. Let's go, because nothing's impossible. Yo, what's up, man? How's it doing?
Good, man. So we're gonna do a Freestyle Friday, Nothing's Impossible podcast, episode 1.
Yep, this is episode 1 of the Freestyle Friday, dude. I mean, I'm so excited about the Freestyle Friday. I don't know about you, but honestly, Friday is like one of my favorite times of the week. You're jumping into something, you know something's about to happen, right? You're getting all amped up, and it's just, I don't know, it's fun. So let's get into some freestyling.
So talking about Fridays, man, I have this new thing since I'm getting out of the military. Mondays are my new favorite day, followed by Tuesdays. Yeah, because I get to go ahead and be independent. I get to be my own boss. I don't have to go to a job I don't like anymore. So as much as I'm excited for this Freestyle Friday, because I want to be here with you, Mark, and kind of talk about some of the topics we got going on today, Mondays are my favorite day of the week.
Mondays, I'm telling you. I'm down with that. I'm down with Mondays. I mean, it's flip the script, right? Mondays.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I wake up and I'm like, I feel so good. All right, man. So we're going to jump into it. Brady retiring this week. It's official. Snap. Yeah, it's official. So where are you at with this? What's going on?
Bruh, like, you cannot deny the GOAT status, and I don't want to be one of these fanboys who are out here like, oh, Tom Brady, or whatever you did, you throwing touchdowns has, made such a difference. Like, he isn't. Because I can honestly say that I haven't been a Tom Brady fan all his career, but game recognized game, right? Game recognized game. You got, I don't know how many championships. 7? Is that how many he has?
I think 7. I think he got 7.
Lucky number 7, and the work he's obviously done, and him jumping from another team to another team and winning a Super Bowl. I mean, greatness. Do I think that he needs to retire? I mean, sure. I mean, if that's how he feels, I mean, leave out on top. Would I appreciate seeing him in another year? Yeah, I think he's good for the game, but I mean, I think he's done enough to like hang up his boots. You know what I mean? How about you?
The man gets to make his decisions, right? When he wants to retire. Yeah. I was surprised that he chose to go out like this, though. Like, he's the one that leads fourth quarter comebacks in the last score of the game. And to go out like this, when I saw it come out from, I think it's Adam Schefter, and he went and jumped the gun, of course. And I think that's disrespectful on his own, even if he's a reporter.
Yeah.
He can follow up on the man. I mean, give the man a moment to go ahead and live his life. It's Tom Brady, for crying out loud. I was surprised he retired. Amazing career. What I love about people like Tom Brady is when they show up, it's going to be a game. Either you're going to get blown out or it's going to be a game. There's no way almost any time of the week, any time of the year, any season. I don't think the guy had a losing season. So the fact that he went ahead and decided to call it quits after having another, I mean, there's a thing, and I ain't want to bring him into it, but Ben Roethlisberger, he's done, bro. He looked atrocious. He looked like he was stumbling through his progressions. Even on his 3-step drop, that looked difficult. Tom Brady, nothing looked like he lost anything.
Did you see they did? I don't know if it was a meme or something. You know how like Tom Brady does like TB12, all this kind of like takes care of his body. They're showing that Ben Roethlisberger was like all ice packed up all over his body, leaving the practice field. I mean, I agree, dude. I mean, that's where like I'm conflicted, with Tom leaving, but I definitely understand it. You know what I mean? Where Ben, when he retired, it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a bit too late. You should have retired earlier, because honestly, you were just out there like a 10-man, like, it just was a shell of himself.
Ben Roethlisberger, I think, made $40 million this year, so that he had a reason to show up for the paycheck. Tom Brady like the fact that he didn't show up next year or choose to go to a different team or prolong his career with Tampa Bay, that's where I'm really troubled here. And I mean, he has to do what's best for him and his family.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt in my mind that if he would have came back next year, he would have been competing for another Super Bowl.
Oh, no doubt.
I think that's where our issue is. And I mean, hats off to him, live his life. He's going to have a wonderful life as he retires, but it hurts, man, because I'm not really a Tom Brady fan either. Mm-hmm. But like you said, game recognizes game. Mm-hmm. And I was expecting for him to show up one more time and make one more run, because that team throughout the season was depleted on defense. They had almost no cornerbacks.
Yeah.
And so other teams could throw on them. It just was an issue on the defensive side of the ball. And then towards the latter end of the season, it also was an issue with their wide receivers. I mean, we got Antonio Brown.
Goodwin. Right?
Yeah.
Is it Goodwin or Godwin?
Yeah, Godwin.
Yeah.
He blew out his knee with the ACL injury.
Yep.
So I mean, there was a lot of issues that fell down the end of the season. And there was basically Mike Evans. There was Scotty Miller in there. Tyler Johnson, auxiliary pieces, but it was Mike Evans and Gronk. And then the running game was non-existent because Lenny went down.
Yeah, Lenny. I mean, Lenny was, I think Lenny was a vital piece in that. You know what I mean? I think he doesn't get enough credit. I mean, in regards to, you know, having the play action, being able to come out the backfield with these, you know, dumps right out off to him. I mean, he became like a receiving quarterback, another option for Tom. And it was just like, I mean, Tom doesn't, I mean, if you look at the past, you got to give the guy credit. Honestly, you got to give the guy credit with what he was working with within New England. When you really think about it, all the tools that he, you know, had, all these supply guys, you know, Danny Woodheads, you know what I mean? These people that he's a field general. And like you said, there's not a game that he goes into when you're watching that you ever think that he's out of the game. You know what I mean? Even like, I think it was one of the games where you just like, oh snap, Tom's got that, you know, how he looks down and then looks up, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he flipped the switch, you know, that he's always in the game. So I think that's where I'm gonna miss. But obviously, I think there's definitely a new generation of guys that can kind of step up into you got your, you know, Patrick Mahomes and that Josh Allen. That damn game was amazing. You know, that game was amazing. Joe Burrow. You got, you know, Stafford. You know, he's really shining some light. So, I mean, it's in good hands. And I think Tom can, you know, as he rides off into the sunset, can really just like, I left it in good. Like, it's not, you know, we're losing somebody that we really, you know, have grown up, you know, ever since, I don't know, however long he's been in the game forever. But it's to the point where it's definitely, there's a set of quarterbacks this generation that are gonna, you know, step up and step into those, you know, those new ranks. So
Tom Brady's the guy that did the most with the least. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to any of the NFL players out there, but he really did. And I think we hit on why I'm bothered so much is the way that the end of the season came about with all the missing weapons, because Tom still looked damn good.
Yep, I agree. I agree. And I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but game recognized game.
Yeah. So Mark, going into GOAT status, I gotta ask you, Jordan versus Bron.
Oh,
who you got anybody else you want to throw in there? Maybe.
I mean, I think Kobe could get in there. I mean, God rest his soul, man. Kobe is. I think he gets looked over in that mix so much, you know,
because of Shaq. Because of Shaq?
I just don't know. I don't think people appreciate Kobe like they do. I mean, like, just because like he's so much like Michael, so everybody's like, you know, LeBron is kind of cut from a different cloth, right? You bring something else. But I like growing up, I don't know about you, I was always a Michael Jordan fan. You know what I mean? It's just like ingrained. Like that's kind of, you not a Michael Jordan fan?
No, because I was a Portland Trailblazers fan and he crushed us every time we snuck around the corner going into the championship. he would be there, and I knew it was over. I knew it was game. He was calling game before he even showed up.
Are you Clyde the Glide? Are you Clyde the Glide fan? Really got the Clyde the Glide mustache on? You got a Clyde the Glide.
I'm not delusional. I know Clyde the Glide's not as good as Jordan. Don't go there. But it was the fact that we were like there, elevated. We were looking good. But I knew as soon as we went to Chicago, it was over.
Well, you know why, bro? Because they passed him over. They I'm telling you that they had it coming every single time. He had to make them recognize. And you got the whole. You remember he shot so many threes on a Trailblazer, and he was like, he did the whole shrug, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? But no, like out of those two, you like I am honestly swaying more to kind of LeBron. You know what I mean? As he's taken over. I mean, he's 37 years old. Still, I mean, people, and this, I mean, I'm a LeBron Cleveland fan. I love LeBron when he was in when he first started out with the Cleveland Cavaliers, bro. That was my jam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to play NBA 2K, Cleveland Cavaliers. I would boot it up, and it was just, but like, as you watch like his skill set, honestly, he's a big dude. And like, it's just amazing. I mean, people like, oh, he's like 6'9", 6'10" with shoes on. Have you seen? Have you ever been side by side with somebody 6'9", 6'10" next to a basketball hoop?
Everybody's 6'9", 6'10" to me, Mark. I'm 5'2". You know this.
That's true though. But I'm just saying, like, we used to play in like little hoops, growing up, and you start. I mean, that's how I look at LeBron, just being able to do that on a hoop and doing that. But I can't, again, I'll say it again, game recognized game. I mean, like, there's nobody who has been consistent, who's taking care of their body. He's spent like, I want to say, was it $1.5 to $2 million every year on taking care of his body. And he takes his sport definitely serious, and that's the same GOAT status within Tom Brady. Tom Brady takes care of his, I mean, as you saw on Twitter, I think Twitter or Instagram, they were talking back and forth about, I'm not gonna stop playing. And I think LeBron said it. I'm not gonna stop playing football or basketball until I can't throw anymore. Some crazy like that, where they were trying to subliminal message each other, and they recognize each other. They recognize the greatness that is, and I can't deny that Jordan's great in his own, so Kobe as well.
So my problem with Bron is just the team floating. And I know it's going to go back to like kind of probably our era. I mean, I'm 37. Mark, are you 35, 36?
I'm 36. I'll be 37 next year. March.
Okay, so you're almost 37.
Yes, sir.
And it just goes back to loyalty. I mean, that's why I love Damian Lillard so much. He's just loyal to his team.
Yeah.
And I know that maybe not everybody should be rolling like that. And I know I don't look at jobs in that way. When I was growing up, I wasn't very loyal. But I am very loyal to the people that treat me good and do good business. I'm a repeat customer. I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the point is like Jordan manifested and made that team great with Pippen, with what he's already provided.
Yeah.
Bronze went from team to team and creating these super teams. He is the creator of this era of super teams. Let me back it up. It was Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. That was the first super team. But what Bron does is not something that is akin to something that I'd be really happy about. Just like Mark, if I'm a real estate agent, I just go from brokerage to brokerage, creating my own teams and then dipping and leaving people high and dry. Just like if you're a life insurance person, you're doing the same thing. Like, I feel like there's a lot of distrust. I'm sure some people are really happy. But he's also chose to go to big markets. So a place where Miami, where who doesn't want to be in Miami?
Yeah.
Play. And so he not only goes to these situations that are fruitful, but then he goes into a big market. He's not doing anything that's difficult, like the Greek Freak. That is, bro, respect. Bron, what he does is just goes from one team to the next, brings in Westbrook, makes a lot of people question what Westbrook is and what he's bringing to the table. I just don't. Jordan all day, man. Kobe all day. And I guess if you were to go one-on-one, yeah, I understand Braun is going to be a better one-on-one. I understand that he's going to be better in a 5-team spread, but it's the mentality that Jordan brought, that Kobe brought to the game, where Braun throws a little bit fit, man. He gets in his own head. He kind of whines, man. Kobe wasn't going to whine. Kobe got the calls. Jordan got the calls. Like, you knew that they were bringing it, man. And
yeah,
you see Braun, and that's one thing I don't like Braun too, because he like gets his little heater face going on, like nobody needs to see that. That's not a very good pump up. Yeah,
but that's the drama of it. Braun brings that, man. I think Braun brings that, and we have to understand that NBA is entertainment, right? Braun brings that entertainment. He brings that flair, right? And I gotta say, like, I was a Braun fan when he came in from Cleveland, because I watched him throughout high school, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is like, Jordan, evolutionized, bigger, faster, stronger. And I thought he was gonna stay. And I was in that same boat where, like, I wanted him to stay and be that, that so quote unquote savior for Cleveland, and somebody I could attach myself to, like Jordan, right?
Yeah.
They didn't do that. So I had a falling out when that happened, dude. I was like, dude, I hate that dude. How could he do that? But is that me just being selfish, wanting something for somebody else? Say like, hey, dude, stay there. Even though, like, we say like the city did all this thing for him, but what was he actually doing for the city, right? And the thing is like, yeah, you're gonna just like in business though, like you're in a partnership with somebody for a time being, right? You're like, okay, we did our deal. You know what I mean? I need to do what's best for me, right? No hard feelings. He's still from Cleveland, Akron, born. So I don't think there's any hard feelings, and I respect that. You know what I mean? Because I think as a Trailblazer fan, how would you feel if LeBron came to Portland Trailblazers?
He should have came to Portland instead of LA. Yeah, CJ. Yeah, Dame. He could go ahead and distribute. They could hit the tray. He never had a setup like that before.
Would you be a LeBron fan then?
I mean, honestly, I would remember he was from Cleveland, dipped out of Cleveland, and he could have done everything that he wanted to do in Miami and Cleveland. He could have done it all.
Yeah.
He left and then came back and then left again. Like,
they got him a championship. Yeah, he got him what they needed, right?
That's like hey, an ex-girlfriend coming back to you on a rebound after a divorce.
But they also gave him nothing, right? I mean, everybody else, if you went back to, the big three, right? Everybody's getting all this stuff. And then you gave him Delonte West. You gave him what? Eric Snow. Come on, man.
Hey, what is that one guy with the Virgil?
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, puffy hair Virgil or whatever his name is. Playing center. It was embarrassing. Yes, Mark, I agree. Come on.
You got to think of this too. You think you would be seeing him jump out of the building right now at 37? If he would have stayed there, he'd probably be done at 32, because they would have just kept giving him all these subpar, soup can basketball players. And he's like, hey, where's my help? I got to take on the whole Detroit Pistons by myself.
But isn't he the coach and the GM, LeBron? I thought that's what he was. I thought he was everything. So much.
I think that, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he asked for something he got with a 36-year-old Shaq. Come on, man. Like, come on. You remember that Kevin Hart was like, Shaq falls down, like, oh, damn it, Shaq. Come on. What are you doing? Shaq falls down. Shaq alone,
man. He's a national treasure, okay? Exactly. Him and Charles Barkley on TNT.
So I can't, more I look back on it, I'm like, he went to, Miami and played with D-Wade. Man, I watched back highlights, dude. It was like somebody going to the dark side, right? Because he looked like he was angry every game. He was jumping over people, hitting threes, all kinds of different stuff. He's like, I don't care. Hate me. He just kind of took on that persona.
Isn't that where he wore the black mask too? He wore the black mask for a little bit there.
That was tight. I like that. Yeah. The black mask, man. I look back and I was like, okay, I feel where you're going. But let's enter in Kobe. Why do you think people don't say Kobe in, the greatness thing? What do you think?
I don't know. Nobody could guard him. I don't understand it. He couldn't be stopped. I mean, we even still to this day, I don't know about you, but I still say Kobe. And I even preach Kobe's concept of like, even when you're in a funk, you know how you get out of the funk, you shoot yourself out of that funk. You just keep shooting, you keep going, because eventually you'll find your rhythm again. And sometimes Kobe would start the game or have droughts of 5 or 7 missed shots, but he would keep shooting, and then he would dominate you. It was I don't understand it, Mark.
Yeah, man. I just like I said, the Mamba mentality that he had, man. I mean, you cannot not respect Kobe's hard work ethic. I mean, if you really look down at who do you think would win a game? You know what I mean? Like between, let's say, Mike and Kobe.
See, that's why I love Mike and Kobe so much opposed to LeBron. Because I know Kobe and Jordan are going to bring it every single game. In some games, until recently, and that's one thing I do respect Bron a lot. Because like post 27, he's gotten better season over season over season, especially with his shot. I knew early on Jordan and Kobe, say at age 26, 27, Bron just couldn't hang on the putting out production, on shooting. Yes, he could get to the lane. Yes, he could get fouls. But that's why I love Jordan and Kobe so much, because not only could they get to the lane, but they could hit the mid range and the deep three.
I agree. I mean the way that LeBron evolves. I mean but if you look at basketball and those main people that are players, like the Michael Jordans, the Kobes, you know, that they attack the basket. Like, you have to evolve, right? You have to get a turnaround. You have to do that. And you know, Michael and Kobe, you know, did that. I mean, they started doing the fade. Now you're seeing that, you know, the implementation of, you know, what Steph Curry has brought into the NBA with the 3-pointer. You're seeing LeBron hit logo LeBron now, you know, and just being more efficient. Like, I watched this thing on the details, and it shows that actually LeBron is one of the most efficient players in the NBA. Like, he moves without the basketball, but he takes shots that he knows are high percentage shots that he's gonna make, right? So whether it's attacking the basketball where he doesn't have the ball all the time, where he's not losing energy, you know what I mean? So he's stretched out his career in understanding his efficiency and where that needs to come from, whether it's being at the back of the basket, whether it's floor general, you know what I mean? Because he can play all positions. Let's be honest, the dude is a huge threat from inside, outside, even not even shooting, you know, passing the ball. So how do you guard that at that size? So I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where the how basketball has evolved over time, you know, LeBron has kind of, you know, just digested that and, you know, created his own thing. I even like the way he does a little. Have you seen the little look down at the ball thing? Like, nobody's caught on to that yet. Look at. I'm gonna start doing that on you, dude.
Oh man, all right. But if we go Jordan, Kobe, bro, to me they're the same person. They have the same mentality, and and if it wasn't against each other, they wear other teams out, just like LeBron, but in a different way. Just because you don't know where they're scoring, and they're always working over the defense. So I can't pick one between Jordan and Kobe. Can you?
Jordan and Kobe, I think I like Kobe, because I just think he's gonna die on that battlefield. I think he's one of those people that is just gonna just go. You know, I heard Kobe say that Michael doesn't play, like, I think it was an interview that he says Michael doesn't play games that he can't win. Right? Kobe is about that progression, right? Learning within the game, going at you. He's gonna, you know, go at you 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? Just keep going until you break. You know, I mean, you saw the 81-point game. I mean, you seen like he a torn Achilles. I mean, like, dude is like, you know, God rest his soul, dude. He had a mentality that is the Mamba mentality. And the thing is off the court, you know, amazing guy, but he brought that even to screenplay, that Mamba mentality, learning, being able to attack things, and this you can bring that into business. And I admire that. So I would go Kobe over Jordan. And I'm a dude. I have all the Jordans, man. Growing up, I used to buy the Jordans, but man, I'm just Kobe got my respect, man.
Hey, I can't disagree with that. I put up the cards. I don't know. Did you see I was putting out some cards for
I see
sale?
that, man.
Yeah, I pulled it because I got the Brady rookie card,
Mm-hmm.
and I got one Kobe. I got
Mm-hmm.
like probably 20 Jordans. I don't have any LeBron though. I have no LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because just situations in life. I never was really a card collector. I was when I was a kid, but getting older, I didn't really buy cards. I buy them at garage sales if I saw them. I think that's where I got I'm not lying. That's where I got the Brady rookie card, is out of a shoebox.
Really?
From a garage sale. Yeah.
Man.
Yo. I also got a couple others, but yeah, man. Brian Flores. Brian Flores. I got to get your thoughts on what's going on with the NFL and just give it to us, Mark.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this kind of hits
people.
Yeah, well, this kind of hits because I don't know if everybody knows, but I'm a Dolphins fan. Yep, I am a Dolphins fan. I know they haven't had the best decade or so in football, and I watched this last year with Brian Flores, and I don't know. I mean, the thing is, as the story goes with discrimination upon that, and that's a hot button question, man, with the discrimination within the NFL, because there has been levels, and everybody wants to focus on the game at play, but there's a bigger narrative behind the scenes that is playing, and this is one of the aspects where I feel for Brian. You know what I mean? And am I surprised? No. Am I surprised that Bill Belichick knew before Brian did? And he's not even, I'm like, no. I mean, like, Bill Belichick's in everything. You know what I mean? Whether it's unfair or whatever. And I'm not, it's just one of those things where I just hope they do right by him because he's not pulling up. You know that, right? He's not gonna. He's seeking some. I know they want him to settle. So they're gonna want to kind of sweep this under the rug, but I don't think he's gonna settle.
So and I kind of akin this to Kaepernick, man. Like,
yeah,
they didn't care about Kaepernick. Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl and never came back.
Yeah.
Brian Flores, a talented coach. You have the owner offering him $100,000 to lose games.
Yep.
Isn't that all right? So isn't that a Pete Rose situation? Are we at that level where they're paying him to go ahead and rig games essentially?
Yeah.
He refused.
Yeah.
And I have a story kind of akin to this. When I was going to the University of Houston, before I got my finance and accounting degree, I realized like the longevity and the career path I was on wasn't what I wanted to do. So I was sending out like home run job interviews, stuff that I was underqualified for. But usually when I get an interview, I do pretty well.
Yeah.
And one of them was for what? Investment banking. Is an investment banking gig, right? Yeah. And I got past the first interview. I did really well. It was really, really basic stuff. We went to interview number 2. I took it to a new level, met some people. They asked me what it was. I told them what their essentially services that they're offering, because I just looked off a Glassdoor, excuse me, looked off Glassdoor. So I was doing reversed investigating to see what it is I was actually going to be doing. So I just regurgitated what their mission statement was and stuff like that. I got to the third interview. I think I met like the president of the company or whatever. And I found out, Mark, the reason why I made it so far, and I was so underqualified. And they even like pointed that out and said I was going to have to go to college some more, and they were going to actually pay for it and tell me to go ahead and get certain certificates, and they were going to pay for that. But they wanted to hire me because I was a veteran. And Mark, I didn't want to be the token veteran guy. So like, I felt like I was basically going to be the mail boy or the entry level position guy until they wanted to take the veteran and move me to the new level. Maybe they need me in a board meeting that week to go ahead and make them look good. And I would be the veteran guy. I didn't want to play that game and get by, not by my merits, but because of a certain status or classification that I fell into.
Mm-hmm.
So I bounced on that job and probably cost myself a pretty good significant amount of money. I mean, that was almost 8 years ago now, Mark. I would probably be in a better situation than I am now. But
I
I
mean,
want to play the game, man.
I mean, hindsight's 2020 because I've been in that situation myself with the company that I work for, and I've helped them with recruiting veterans and all kinds of different aspects, right? And I was the token veteran. Like they did a story on me about my accolades within the military, within being scholar athlete, and almost making it to the Olympics and representing the United States and stuff like that, and how that dealt into recruiting, right? But I was only there to kind of represent that, right? So you could have been put in that situation. I mean, they could have brought you in and said, "Hey, Troy, you're doing great," but they would have just held you at that position, right? To be the quote mascot for the vet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt, because I was in that same situation where I'm moving up, trying to move up within the company, and I definitely wanted to, go into what my degree is in, sales and business. And I was, putting off, I want to believe, fire, resumes, LinkedIn's, all this kind of different stuff that I had done in the military, right? And then, but I wasn't even getting look. I had been with the company for 7.5 years, and I wasn't even getting a second look. They wouldn't even look at my resume, but let alone I'm on the board for all their veterans. Yeah, he's gonna be at the recruiting, and they can talk to me about certain stuff. But I wasn't good enough to be in these
Qual-
other positions. Yeah,
yeah,
and I
qualified
was
for the
like,
other positions, the other
in the other
jobs, the other
positions, right?
accolades.
I'm like, dude, what, are you serious? Like, at least that's the thing, is like, take the veteran off the board. You know what I mean? If you want to even take the veteran off the board, just look at my resume. Look what I've done. Look at what you know what I mean? Look at what I'm doing, right? And I said, hey, give me a printout of where, because they could show you the status of how far along the progression of interview process, and it shows that if it's viewed, or if it gets to the second level, right, or the third level or whatever, and being within the company, if you're not selected, they have a mandatory, and I found this out, they have a mandatory release to send you a letter on why you weren't selected. So I sent in like 25 to 30 applications for said very entry. You don't have any experience to go into these sales positions, and I would not even get a letter back, but they would put somebody else in there that never actually done it. And I actually talked to one of the people that actually got the position that I was going for, and I was like, "Hey, have you? I just want to shadow you and see, what it took to get this position, right?" So, come to find out, the person had never done that job. They
Oh
actually were
no.
hired. They actually hired me. They actually asked me, "Hey, could you go on job walks with this individual to show them how to do this job?" But they wouldn't hire me for that job. So I definitely understand. I mean, like, and that's where I understand the position of, like, wanting to look great. And even in this, whether it's veteran or the blind Brian Flores, like, we're gonna give an interview just so we can hit this quota. You know what I mean? But we've already selected the person for the job, right? And it's just like, why? You know what I mean? I don't want the veteran to be a stigma to fill your quota. I don't want affirmative action to be that quota. I want to be able to off character and merit and what I'm being able to do. You know what I mean? I don't want, like, oh, we only hired him because he's a minority. No, hire me because I do a great job. You know what I mean? I have the skill set, I have the level, you know what I mean, and that I'm bringing value to your company. And I think that's the same um, instance with Brian Flores. He just wanted the opportunity, right? He wanted to show that he has value. And then at the end of the day, if he wasn't the right selection, then hey, I'm pretty sure he would have been like, okay, I got you.
So the way this all plays out, Mark, I don't know who said it. I'm not prepared. But they said halfway through the season, Brian Flores stopped communicating with ownership and the rest of the coaches. That was a release statement right after right before they fired him, I believe. He did not play ball. He did not lose games. They almost made the playoffs, and he gets fired. I mean, every single owner's white. All right. You have the owner of the Texans shipping off DeAndre Hopkins for a second round draft pick and busted up David Johnson. That's a trade that will never ever be accepted except for that situation, because the coach says we will not have the inmates running the asylum. I mean, you've had repeated instances of this. I mean, currently right now, the Washington Redskins Commanders football team, whatever you want to call Washington's team, dude, the coach was basically running a sex trafficking situation where he would withhold passports for the cheerleaders unless they went on dates. This was just in Congress this week.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's
we don't want to go ahead and talk about that, but here we are, and it's a white ran ownership. You got people like Gruden getting fired over emails, but then you got the Texans, you've got the Dolphins, you've got Washington, a repeat offenders across the board, just going crazy, just doing inappropriate stuff continuously, and nothing's gonna happen to them. Nothing.
No, I don't. I agree. Nothing's gonna happen to him. I mean, this is gonna be a blip in the in the news, and we're gonna be going into the next season, the Pro Bowl and all this different stuff, because money talks, man. I think that's the corrupt aspect of any sports industry. There's been too much money. I mean, there's been this good old boy aspect of who runs it, who's entry level, who are we able to really hold accountable for the actions that be. And I mean, if we throw enough money at it, then it'll go away. And I would hope that this wouldn't be an instance. And I'm not pro cancel culture. I'm not. I think that there is a level of understanding and accountability that needs to be held, right? And an example, but across the board, right? That we need to hold, players, owners, at that level. If you mess up, you do stuff, let's just clean it up. I mean, we want, to have progression and diversity within our league, the league, and within players, and trust within the players. But I mean, you got to fix it. We got to fix house, man. Honestly.
Mark, talking about players, could you imagine being a player of said organization, the Dolphins? How do you go to work?
Yeah.
If you're Tua, the quarterback, the franchise quarterback, and they're the owner's trying to pay the coach to throw games. I mean, did the owner talk to Tua? They're trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. And that's a whole nother story. So you got an owner that's trying to pay a coach to lose games, bringing in a guy that was doing some kind of sexual misconduct. I don't know what level it was at. And this is the kind, I mean, a couple years ago, the Dolphins had a coach doing blow off a stripper or off a desk, telling a stripper in Vegas that he wanted to go see her. I don't, Mark, how far do we have to go, especially when you start unpacking this stuff? And
it is
even further, Mark, if you have a situation at your job, and this is my favorite quote that I will never say, we're like family. When your job's telling you, hey, we're like family. So with family, do you go ahead and pay them less and work them more? I've never been a proponent of we are family when I say it to people, because you feel a certain way when you come work with us. I'm all about business and results. And so we are not family, but I'm a very fair and fun guy to be around. So Mark, when you have to go ahead and have a Rooney rule, because you got to go ahead and have somebody of a minority come in there and interview for a job, that's like saying your family. Yeah, come on, man. We got a Rooney rule to go ahead and fulfill. You're our guy. Come check it out. All right, go back to your old job.
it's just a crazy instance, man. We're gonna see how this plays out. I hope it plays out in in a better fashion for Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins, because I am a fan, and I do want to have it cleaned house. I mean, like you tapped on the Colin Kaepernick thing. I mean, it's just one of the things where people don't want to get political. I mean, people are like, oh, this is political. No,
What's
these are
political about race?
it's a human thing. It's a human thing. It's not it's human rights. It's how to treat people. Everybody was like, oh, this is political. I'm like, it's not political. If you really unpack it, it's not. There's no political. You can be a conservative black, a conservative, Democrat. This is just human. You know what I mean? I just look at it as a human relations problem. You know what I mean? And we need to fix it. A human condition. So if we can kind of get on that same page and fix those things, I think we'll be all right. But it's gonna take some time. You know what I mean? We gotta, again, like a drain the swamp. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. This isn't something that's new. It's just the fact that we can, shed light on it now. Everything is out. Nobody's scared to kind of just put people on blast and like, oh, I got the receipts, so to say. You said something, I got the receipts. Now it's in ball's court, because back then they were like, oh, we didn't do anything, right? Hey, nobody. But now it's like, no, I'm gonna put everybody on blast. Everybody's gonna be held accountable. Now it's in the NFL, the Shields court, to make things right.
So all right, so that's a problem right there in itself, Mark. You just said it. So the NFL published a statement 2 hours after Flores saying that what is it? His statements, Brian Flores' statements, were unfounded, and and the NFL supports the Dolphins and ownership. That's where that's where all of this is a problem. It's not even the owners, it's the NFL, and the owners are all one. Yeah. And the NFL's not going to make it right because they got to protect their own. Like,
they got to protect the shield, man. As they say.
I get frustrated by this stuff because, like, I know I'm a cisgendered white male, all this stuff that people want to put labels on. I like my wife. I'm into women. One woman, Anna, got you. But the whole point is like, I look at people as humans.
Yes.
And we're very interesting creatures. But when you go ahead and start being racist and identifying certain levels of aspects of humans, I don't understand that. I just don't.
I don't understand that. I mean, we place value on people in that aspect, and it's hurtful. You know what I mean? I think this reverberates around the league, like you were saying. How, as an employee of the NFL, how do you take that? How does Tua take that? How do you move forward with that when you're not valuing the people that are putting the butts in the seats? Without the players, I mean, there has to be a players union or some kind of thing that goes on where it's not stood for. And I stand behind that. Whether you're black, white, purple, green, or whatever, I mean, treat everybody with the level of respect and dignity, and do it right.
I think that kind of circles back to us sharing our story with being a veteran, and how that it is a huge label that we get, for better or worse. And sometimes there's feelings involved.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so Mark, let's roll into the Super Bowl. Let's roll into the Super Bowl. I want your prediction, because I got mine. I want to hear your prediction. What you think's gonna happen? Who are you riding with? Who do you want to win? Give it to me.
Who do I want to win? It's for all intents for it's going to be a damn good game. It's going to be a damn good game, because I think it's going to be a battle of the defenses, to be honest. I mean, they got some high-powered offense, but I think the defense, that old adage, offense wins games, defense wins championships. If you look at the past 4 games, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is it? What has been it? It's been defense, right? I would say that the past 4 games that we watched on TV have been defenses. You know what I mean? You think about, Patrick Mahomes, he was on fire, right? The Bengals were down 18. That defense came up. I mean, it's played on both sides, but I think the way this game ends is whose defense is gonna, come in clutch. Now, when I look at who we have, who both sides have, you have Stafford, hell of an arm, right? You have Cam Akers just coming off that Achilles, and I know from instance of me coming off Achilles, is he going to be productive? I don't know. Then you have Cooper Kupp, who has the most receiving yards this season for any receiver. I think he's number one, right?
Yeah, he is Triple Crown. I think the Triple Crown's yards,
Exactly.
receptions, touchdowns.
You got OBG, Odell Beckham. I think he's, his first Super Bowl. This is his first Super Bowl, right? First Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's his first Super Bowl.
Super Bowl,
Giants
right?
wasn't making to one, and the Browns certainly. Baker Mayfield. I don't know if he's the quarterback in the NFL for much longer.
Yeah, so you got him, and then you got I think if they would have Woods in there, that'd been a huge factor. But Woods is obviously out, ACL, right?
Yeah, they got Van Jefferson as the third receiver.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got him, and then you on the defense, you got Ramsey, you got Aaron Donald, you got a highlight defense.
So you go Rams.
Rams. I mean, I would say Rams. I mean, what do you think? It's so hard. It's so heartbreaking for me because I like the Bengals too.
This is easy for me. I want the Bengals to win. I want Joey B to go ahead and be the Heisman, the national champion, and the Super Bowl champion all within 3 years. Nobody's ever done it. That's the storyline here. Chase is going to be covered by Ramsey. You're going to have T. Higgins run wide open, monster. The Rams don't have a second cornerback. So it's been a weakness throughout the playoffs. It's been very obvious. Ramsey had to switch off of playing one side of the field like he always does and go play Evans at the end of the game to go ahead and secure the game over Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So it's going to come down to Higgins because you can't take Ramsey off Chase. That's not happening. So it's going to be Higgins. It's going to be a Higgins game. Higgins is going to go for over 100 yards, touchdown guaranteed. You can chalk that up.
You going Cincy?
No, I'm not going Cincy. You can chalk that all up, everything I just said. But I'm going Rams because of everything you just said, Mark, about defense win championship. Yeah. Aaron Donald is not going to let that happen. He's going to be a terror coming through that line. And Cincinnati, their line has stepped up, and they've looked much better than I think they were on paper to start the season. But you're not going to deny Aaron Donald, man. You're not going to deny the Rams and that offense. They're going to be good enough. Defense wins championships, and the Rams are going to win, unfortunately, even though I want the Bengals to win.
Yeah, and that's where a heartbreak. I mean, I think that Joey Burrow has done a damn good job. He's been on point. Chase has done an amazing job. Mixon has chopped it up. That last game that I watched, he was, got them to tough yards, right? Higgins coming up with big plays and stuff like that. Do you think it's going to be a close, or do you think it's going to be blowout?
I think it's going to be close. And I will say, if the Bengals win, Joey Burrow is going to be a man possessed. He's going to have to play a man possessed and be a god out there. I mean, he's got the swagger. He's got the toughness. It's one thing that I remember at LSU. Homeboy would get lit up playing college football, and he would still deliver the ball and come back the next play like nothing happened. So if he can go ahead and tap into that, some of that Superman powers, I mean, they have a chance.
Yeah. I mean, I think they do. I agree. I think they do have a chance. I mean, they haven't been to the Super Bowl in 33 years, but people are like, well, they haven't been. I'm like, well, that's great. But I don't know what you're going off of. I mean, it's not like Joe Burrow is like 20 something years old. Like, he's a young guy. He hasn't been playing for the Bengals in 33 years, so he hasn't felt that kind of, like disappointment for 33 years. Joey Burrow. I mean, like, what are you trying to say? Like, these are new.
Relative.
Exactly. Everybody. I mean, the Rams, the team that is going to the Super Bowl that they're going against, hasn't been to the Super Bowl. So what are you talking about? These are everybody that's really gone to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's new to them, right? So I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's gonna be a barn burner. It's gonna be super intense. You know what I mean? The halftime show is gonna be lit.
It is. I mean, it's like our high school childhood,
right?
Y'all about
Eminem, Snoop Dogg, you know.
Yeah, Dr. Dre.
Exactly. I'm gonna get my Jinkos on and everything, bro. I'm gonna,
don't you be bringing Jinkos into this,
bro. I said I'm gonna get that, bro. My, my hat visor twisted up in the back and everything, bro. I'm gonna be all set up, bro. When I watch it, I'm gonna drink some Four Locos or something like that, or some Mad Dog 2020s while I'm doing it too, bro.
Oh man, don't bring the Mad Dog 2020 into this. All right.
I don't know, bro.
I remember us in the Jeep, man.
Bro, your Jeep was a railer, bro.
Yeah.
You used to drive that so hard, man.
That's how all right. So that's how I live my life though, Mark, and I'm all broken now.
It was just like every morning we would listen to everybody. We used to listen to in the morning. We get started with Linkin Park Reanimation in the morning. That was, before we were pumped, bro. Some Reanimation, Linkin Park. Fear is hell. You know how it is. I just gave you a flashback right there, bro.
Yeah. All that was a flashback. Mad Dog 2020 started it, man.
That's awesome. But yeah, I do think that the Rams are gonna take it. I know that I'm probably whoever's listening. I might do a side bet with somebody with this, in regards to who's gonna do it. But I'm just excited to watch two teams in the Super Bowl that I would have never, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year who would have made it to the Super Bowl, these two teams would not have been in the mix. For me.
See, I could have said the Rams. I could have found if somebody told me a story and said the Rams, I could listen along. I could see the vision. But the Bengals, no. Absolutely not. I mean, there's absolutely no way. Beginning of the season, they're saying Jamar Chase dropping balls preseason practices.
Yeah.
They were running that guy's name through the mud. They were doing the most with the least. But now look where we're at. And Jamar Chase is one of the best wide receivers. Joey B. Chase, one of the best duos. And then you throw in Higgins, and they're all like the same age. They're all right there. That's going to be a dynamic duo. Mark? So what I find interesting with that dynamic right there, Joey played against Clemson in the national championship game the year that he won. And at the top of the second round, they went with Higgins, which was the right wide receiver for Clemson. All right. So in the national championship game, you have the best quarterback, which is not Trevor Lawrence, by the way. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, it's not definitely not Trevor Lawrence.
It's not Trevor Lawrence. It was
Trevor who?
Joey Burrows.
Trey who?
All right. So you got the best quarterback. And then Burrows got not only the best receiver in Chase and Higgins. All three of those guys played in one game. I just find that very interesting when you have players go across teams and are like, hey, I want to play with that guy. That guy's going to be on my team.
Yeah.
And now they're in this situation where they have this dynamic trio heading into the Super Bowl in many years to come. And I have to tap in on this because, I believe California's still in a state of emergency because of everything that's happened in the last 2 years. But it's cool to have the Super Bowl, man. So it's cool for the rich people and the corporations to make all their money. But then, lower tiers of people don't get to experience the same level of freedom as other people.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I had to go ahead and put that in there because I'm not really even. Aren't we just tired of it at this point? Can we make some logical decisions for ourselves without mom and dad and the government telling us what we can and can't do?
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I mean, that's, Big Brother telling us what to do every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard. It's definitely hard. You know what I mean? We give a lot of liberties in the pursuit of, doing what we want to do, but it shouldn't be that way. We should just be given those liberties, right? Because that should be our rights. So, I'm just hoping that this turns out well for, California in the sense that, they can make some revenue off this. And
but they're not making revenue. Only the big corporations are the biggest of the biggest.
I know. Yeah. It's always about the big guys, right? Not the little guys.
It It shouldn't be.
I know.
I feel like
I
kind
know,
of like
Troy.
why we're here, Mark, is like we're representing the people, man. We're gonna fight through this, and we're gonna figure out how to do this podcast. I'm gonna get a background. You wait and see.
Hey man, I love it. That is your background, bro. It's the new office background, guys.
Yeah, man.
So
I mean, this is what it looks like. This is what
real life, man.
the grind looks like. But Mark, heading into, I know we're doing Freestyle Friday on Fridays. We'll probably be looking at UFC fights. So looking ahead this weekend's fights, there's not really too many that jump out at me.
No,
that are really money maker fights. I mean, it's a fight night, so I mean, it's not gonna be
who got on the main card. I know about maybe one person on there on this fight card, but the next card I know some people in there.
Yeah, so I got two people coming up this week. Strickland, loving to be white trash. I don't it's hard to promote that guy and get behind if you're the UFC to go ahead and have a big promotion behind him. So I'm sure Jack Hermanson, they're hoping, the UFC is hoping that guy takes out Strickland and moves him down the ranks, because Strickland's number 7 right now, Jack's number 6. So sure, they want Jack to win. If we go down, there was the TUF, which is the Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter, Brian Battle is fighting on the main card, and he's gonna be fight number 2 heading into the main card. And I like Brian Battle. He has a good story, and the guy really brings it. Maybe not the most polished right now. I mean, he just came off the Ultimate Fighter, but I like him. I like his story, and I like the way he fights.
You like Tresean Gore? Wasn't he on Tough Enough?
Oh, I don't know. I
believe he was on Tough Enough, man. And I believe that he's a because you went with Brian Battle, right? This Tresean Gore, I don't know. I'm gonna have to battle you on that one, bro.
All right, man. Well, definitely we're gonna take some notes and revisit it. But I want to give a shout out to Tyrell Fortune. I'm pretty sure light heavyweight. I think, does Fortune fight heavyweight? I think he fights heavyweight.
Yeah, I think so.
There's just I wish Tyrell Fortune was on the UFC. I think it's his time. I think he's ready. I think he definitely could step up, and I was hoping that it would be happening sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Tyrell Fortune, man. He's a big pick, man. He's out of Oregon, man. I remember coming up and wrestling and hearing about Tyrell, and just a freaking animal. I'm telling you, where he was at the training center for a while, and it was like, dude, this guy's a freak of nature athlete, and big up to him. I mean, he's definitely made his way into the UFC, not the UFC, but Bellator. And made some big reverberations around there, man. And big ups to him.
Absolutely, so. Mark. I remember him wrestling out of Roy Pittman and downtown Portland Pit. He's part of the pit crew. And he's one of the showstoppers. Whenever he stepped on the mat, I would give the kid his respect because he was a couple years younger than us. And I would definitely watch him, man. He was definitely one of those must see TV.
Yep. I definitely want to see him continue to do big things, and cool him. And then there's also another guy that should be coming up and watching too, is Sean Bunch. So Sean Bunch, who was at the Olympic Training Center, little guy like me, but super athlete, man. So keep your guys out for Sean Bunch.
Where's he fighting out of? Is it Bellator or a smaller promotion?
Let me look at this real fast. Sean Bunch is fighting out of, I believe, Bellator. I want to say that he's fighting out of Bellator. Yeah, last fight that I saw him in, he, again, growing up wrestling, I used to go down to, in national camps, and he was one of the guys who you would see and everybody would be surrounding his match, because he was just a huge draw, within the wrestling community, Bunch the Great. And then when I was in the Olympic Training Center, he wrestled freestyle. So I never really got to wrestle him, but super quick, super athletic. One of those guys that was just a spark plug out there. So if, check that guy out, check out his highlights, check out his wrestling, dude. He's going to be one guy that you guys need to watch. It's called Sean Bunch the Great, man.
All right, Mark. I'm gonna take this off. We're gonna go off the rails a little bit here, but for the people, when we were in high school, I think it was our junior year, the national training camp, Matt Linlin
Yeah.
and Randy Couture was our national team coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go ahead and speak on what that was like for you? Because like I was not even appreciative of what was going on. And I mean this in the sense that I did not know their greatness. Like I did not know the level of greatness because that wasn't even something I knew that was happening until we were there. And then they were there being our coaches for a national team.
Yeah, well, for me, like, as I grew up wrestling, dude. So I know you came in. Would you come in like high school, middle
Yeah,
school,
freshman year.
freshman year of high school? Yeah. So I knew Matt Linlin, from when I started wrestling at the Cobra Club here in Oregon, and we were a powerhouse. We were it was Cobra and Peninsula. So Matt would come in and show us Greco and stuff like that. And I was 6 years old, going into 7. So Greco was my big thing, because you could throw people and stuff like that. So being a part of that as growing up, knowing Matt, knowing what he did, and then being a part of the World Class Athlete program, and then backing up, being a part of the national team with Randy Couture. And the funny thing is that I didn't really know Randy Couture until we heard that he was going to start doing UFC, right? And that was one of the things, because I wasn't really invested in watching wrestling as much as a lot of the other guys are on my team, but I knew Matt Linlin. I knew that he was um, in the Olympic trials, and they had to do a whole bunch of other things with the cheating, all this different stuff that happened within that. Do you remember that? So he had wrestled against a guy named Aaron Saraki, which I was actually fortunate enough to be on a team when I was in the World Class Athlete with his brother. So not Aaron Saraki, Keith Saraki. So Keith was who wrestled Matt Linlin to go to the Olympics, and Matt actually beat Keith and went to the Olympics. So then, years later, I joined the team and I was with Aaron Saraki at on the World Class Athlete program. And it was crazy because we had always lifted Matt up to like this prominence. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, I wrestled Greco, because I was on a Greco team. I wrestled in, I came from Oregon. It was Matt Linlin, the great Matt Linlin. And he was like, yeah, I know that guy. And like, it was still a sore subject. And I was like, what? Oh, that's Keith's brother, Aaron. I'm like, oh, okay. So I know not to it's kind of like a Voldemort kind of instance. We didn't talk about Matt, but that whole instance, going back to what you're saying, was monumental, because going back and looking, it's more the look back on what you did. Like, wow, I was with some great people and surrounded with great people. And even now, in the atmosphere that I am, when I went to the Olympic Training Center, I got to rub shoulders and be friends with people like the great champ right now, Kamaru Usman. So because I was training at the Olympic Training Center with him, and as well as like Henry Cejudo, meeting him and befriending him. And it's just one of those circles where you're just like, wow, these people, but these are normal people, right? And you're just like, to be around that type of greatness is a very appreciative thing. And I know that when you were going to national camp, you probably did the same thing, like look back like, wow, like now you were with Matt Linlin and Randy Couture. These are like monumental names, these are huge names now in the industry.
Well, Mark, it just speaks to wrestling and how tight of a community, how tight knit it is, and how almost everybody knows somebody that is essentially famous. Yeah. Like we know Colby Covington.
That's another
Uriah
one.
Faber, Eric Stevenson wrestled Uriah. We know Colby. Colby was from Oregon. He's the same age as us, maybe a couple years younger. We saw that kid wrestle. We saw that kid grow up. And I mean, to be completely honest, where he's at now, I'm damn surprised, but he was a damn good wrestler.
Yeah. But would you have thought that back then where he's at now?
What I loved about him, and I kind of knew this, and there's a couple people like him, he didn't cut weight. He didn't cut weight in high school. So he was what he was, and he spent a lot more time probably on explosive power, different kind of cardio instead of cutting weight. So I always like when I heard stories like that, because I cut a lot of weight when I was going to high school and wrestling. Probably sure I wrestled 112 my senior year and I wrestled 103. Something I look back on and I'm like, what was I doing? Just because I was too big. But looking at him now, because I remember when, man, I don't remember when he started fighting, but I remember when I heard he started fighting and I was like, huh, he's starting to fight. I wonder how that's going to go. Cause I know he has a competitive advantage with his cardio and I know he can wrestle. So whoever he was fighting, it was going to be very unfair.
Yeah.
Because he was like an elite level wrestler, but his hands and even a big criticism of him from my perspective, watching him fight when he started was his hands. He fought like a wrestler. There's no other way to put it. But his hands have developed so much further, just like Usman. I remember when he was man, what was it? What was he on? It was that is a UFC.
Yeah, the Ultimate,
the Black Zillions.
Yeah, the Black Zillions. He came up through the remember the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah,
with Black Zillions versus the I think America Top Team or something.
Yeah,
like
America
that.
Top Team. So I remember that because I watched that one. I used to have the UFC files. I would go all the way back and watch all the beginning. So that's how I know of Usman. And when I watched him, he reminds me of Colby because he wrestled.
Yeah,
he wasn't really a fighter, but his hands have developed so much further than I ever could have imagined. And yeah, I could imagine why people were scared to fight him because he was a dominant force.
Yeah. Coming up, watching those guys, I mean, definitely was something. You really like you're saying, you really appreciate, the circles that that you were subjected to, that you're a part of, and being in that wrestling community. Like I said before, Kamaru Usman, Nate Coy, who was on the Ultimate Fighter, who's from Oregon, and knowing these people and seeing them grow and seeing them expand and seeing them evolve into the fighters they are today, this makes you appreciate just the thing, just being a part of the wrestling community and being able to put yourself through that, knowing that, these guys are great athletes, but you have some of that dog in you as they do. You know what I mean? Knowing that you bring that into the business world, you know what I mean? Or whatever you do.
So Mark, why did you never fight? Because I know a lot of people, there was a time in your life where you got a lot of hype and a lot of pressure, and there were some people around you that fought.
Yeah.
And there was kind of the expectation, I think, for a brief moment that you were also going to start fighting.
Yeah, it was funny because like I had left the World Class Athlete program, and I think it's 2012, and I was actually going to fight. So me and a close friend of mine, who was part of the Taekwondo team at the World Class Athlete program, we were actually gearing up to go down to Florida to start training. He had set up this whole thing. God rest his soul, man. He had passed away. He had overdosed or something like that with his medication, and he had passed away. So that kind of deterred me away from going to fight. It was a hard decision because I wanted to set up something for my kids and everything, but I just felt like fighting was not in the cards for me at that time. And then I just went back home, got close to my kids, and then just thought about business and seeing how I could, what we've been talking about, put together like a complex or something like that catered to fighting. Because truth be told, fighting and sports being a part of the Olympic Training Center and training there and stuff like that takes a lot of time and dedication. You know what I mean? And I knew that I needed to make a decision, whether it was to be, closer to my family or dedicate my life to a sport. And if you're not all in with one of those, you know what I mean? Then I just didn't want that to negatively impact me in any way, especially with my kids. So I was like, you know what? I've been wrestling since I was 6. I got out when I was 20 plus years I had put into wrestling. And I said, okay, this is, I want to put, if anything, give back in a sense of, knowledge or putting together some kind of facility in the future so I could help wrestlers, kids, fighters, or anybody kind of pursuing that. So that's why.
So fighting's a selfish endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
So same with wrestling or even high level sports, you can take it across the gamut. It's a selfish endeavor, and that's why I think we kind of even can circle back to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's a selfish endeavor until it's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I mean by that, it's selfish until you get to a point where there's because along the way there's diminishing returns until you reach a point where there's actual returns
Yeah.
that are fruitful. Like that whole time, Mark, say that you would have went and started fighting, it may have been 2, 3, 4, 7 years until
Mm-hmm.
you reached a point where you're actually getting returns worthwhile
Yeah.
for your kids and your family. And also along that way, you may have got injured. There may have been huge setbacks where you couldn't go ahead and now you never even reached your return point, and it
Mm-hmm.
was diminishing returns the whole way and you got nothing out of it.
Yep.
And now you're in a situation where you got to start from zero. I feel like I'm calling out Dana White. Pay the fucking fighters, man.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
I don't understand it. Like, I don't even want to hear it, bro. Like, if you're telling me fighters are making $50,000 a fight and you do 2 fights a year and you got to put together fight camps, nutrition, and everything else, and we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
LeBron and we're talking about Tom Brady spending 100,000, I mean, 1 million, 1.5 million, $2 million
Mm-hmm.
on their bodies and
Yep.
nutrition and their upkeep. And I don't want to hear it anymore, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Pay the fighters. I don't care if UFC is profitable. Be
Well,
negative until you figure it out, because this is insane to me.
or at the very least, give them an access to sponsorship, their own sponsorship, right?
Yeah.
Why the hell was that taken off the table? Like, you know what I mean? They weren't able to sponsor or run their sponsors. Now they're subject to contracts under what is it, Reebok or whatever, that's their sole conglomerate money take, you know what I mean? And they're on a tier system, you know what I mean? So the tier system, what I was explained to is like, if you're, 1-2 fights, in the UFC, you're making what, like 5 to 10 or something like that a fight. Then you factor in, that's not even fight of the night. You got to try to get a fight of the night. You got to try to get, you know what I mean? Plus your training. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just one of the things, and then you got, the kingpin at the top, just siphoning all the money. And it's like, you wonder why these guys are leaving. These guys are going to do boxing with, Logan Pauls or, Jake Pauls or whatever. Cause dude, I mean,
that's
I
a
don't
payday.
know. Exactly. I mean, this is ridiculous. So I would definitely agree that there should be an access to, them making their own money, whether it's sponsorships or, marketing or anything like that, where they're not under that umbrella, where it's like, just a sweatshop, basically. Like, you're going to produce, crack the whip. And obviously the top players in the system are making great money, right?
They're not happy, Mark. Bones Jones isn't happy. Frank Ngannou's not happy.
Oh, I agree. So the top, the top player, top player.
Oh,
like
so you're saying like Dana White and the corporation?
Yeah. So the top player, like Connor's fine, right? Because he gets kind of whatever he wants. He has a piece of the company. He's marketed as well. You know what I mean? He can get the title fight. You know what I mean?
And he's a man of the people back in Ireland.
I mean, like he's like the unicorn of it. Nobody's running it like him, right? So he can come and go as he pleases, and also he he has everything where it says like I don't know if you saw, but on the fight that he had with Dustin, he had McGregor promotions or whatever. You know what I mean? He has all kinds of different promotions that he's able to feed off of. I mean, he's his own thing. So he's his own entity. So Dana White doesn't tell him when he comes and he goes. So he's already done that. And he kind of broke the mold. So I don't know if, other fighters should just do that, but they don't have the, the backing to that. You know what I mean? Where they can kind of go and make their own money like that. But I would say, hey, to the fighters, gang up, put a union together, put some kind of
why is there no union yet?
Honestly, you got to get what you need. I mean, you want, you know what I mean? You got to take care of your own. And like the NBA has an NBA union, you know what I mean? All this kind of different stuff that the Players Association. You know what I mean? Where's the Fighters Association? Is there a Fighters Association? And maybe there is, but I don't think any of the balls, the pendulum is getting moved, the pin's getting moved where fighters are actually getting compensated. You know, do they even have like insurance or anything like that? I mean, man,
Mark, don't
I
even
would
get me
hope.
started on insurance and like because so this has been my premise for why college athletes should get paid for the longest amount of time is because say a kid that's 19 years old goes out and wrecks his knee, or even worse, gets a severe concussion. And I know there's no mild or severe concussion. A concussion's a concussion, and it affects each individual differently. How at 19, if that kid does not have lifelong health insurance and doesn't have the ability to get paid at that time, how is that even like a legal thing that we can have in this society?
I don't know, but I think the fact that I think just recently, did you hear that they're able to market themselves and make money? I know that's another beautiful thing. I mean, it took so long. If you think about these universities and these colleges making billions and billions of dollars off of the backs of these kids. I mean, it's modern day child labor. Honestly, these are kids still, right? I mean, these are they're teenage kids or young men, but they're just like, you know, I've heard stories that they can't pay for their food, they can't pay for this, you know what I mean? But you put them in video games, you put them this, they're marketed, and it's one of the things where like I watched on I don't know if you watched the show Ballers.
Yeah.
Have you seen that show?
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, him fighting against, you know, the powers that be. They're trying to change that so they can kind of, you know, get what they're due. And I truly believe that if you're making a corporation billions of dollars, dude, cut them a check. You know what I mean? Cut the check, dude. I mean,
so I got two, Mark. I got two. When they got sponsorship, the college athletes, when they could go ahead and promote themselves. My favorite was Reggie Bush. When he's like, so do I get my Heisman back, or is that just not happening? How's that work? And my second one is just, I'm going to throw another LeBron reference out there. LeBron showing up in his Hummer in high school. Oh.
Hey, he did it smartly though, right? He said it was in his mom's name. It was a gift, right?
Yeah.
My guy.
Hey, so I'm gonna circle back to UFC 271, and we got the Style Bender and we got Bobby Nux. Talk to me, bro. What do you think is going on in that fight? How's this looking?
I like Style Bender. I think he's like an Anderson Silva 2.0, right? He's got the moves, he's got the, you know, the swag, all this stuff like that. While Robert Whittaker is just this thumper, bro. He's this thumper.
I like Whittaker. I'm a huge fan of his. Love what he brings to the table, but Stylebender, man, it's like a momentum that can't be stopped.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're talking Connor and like what Stylebender could be, I mean, just his ring presence, if you will, his cage presence, his walkout, everything about him just oozes creativity, style, ability, just everything you want out of a champ.
So I don't, right? Super level.
Yeah, I don't see him losing unless he gets knocked out and caught, just because of the way he fights. He almost reminds me of a Mayweather, because he's kind of a reactionary defensive fighter at times.
He'll piece you up, man. He'll just, like, if you're just standing there, like he did with what's his name? What's that big Brazilian dude? What's his name?
Oh man, I don't know. Big head McGee.
Yeah. Jose Creatine, is that his name?
Yeah, I don't know who I know who you're talking about,
right? Jose Creatine.
Yeah, bro. He has a huge head, bro.
Yeah, Jose Creatine, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
So Jose Creatine, you know, he thought he was just all muscle bound and he was gonna knock Stylebender out, and but that didn't happen, right? Stylebender was, you know, gave him the whole chopping him up, you know what I mean? Just, you know, piecing him up one by one, dude.
What about the Italian guy? The Italian guy, I can't even remember his name either, but he thought that he possibly won. He was like, and it was embarrassing. Like, it was an embarrassing fight. The guy had no presence on what actually was going on in the world. He thought he had a chance. So Derek Lewis and the Shuey Tui.
Oh, my Shuey Tui, bro.
Yeah, what you got?
Tequila. He drinking a Toe Jam tequila every time. I don't know. This off of grossness. I like Derek Lewis, but Derek's really, I'm conflicted on Derek Lewis, man, because like, is he just the new age Kimbo Slice?
Ooh,
what I mean? Because like he's got the power. You know what I mean? Not really ground game, esque, you know what I mean? He does get tired, he's got those heavy hands, but how much skill is it? You know what I mean? He's not throwing really kicks. I mean, he throws a couple kicks, but I don't think they're really serious.
I mean, he's the knockout leader. He's a knockout leader.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So but like when I watch Tui, it seems like he's got more skill. But I think Derek can like definitely catch him. I mean, Derek is one of those guys who's got bombs. He's dropping bombs.
So Tuivasa has actually gotten in better shape since the last, I think, year and a half. He wasn't in the best of shape, and I think he rededicated himself to the sport. Derek Lewis is sitting with a ranking of number 3. All right. So
behind who?
I would have to look. I would love to look right now. I'm going
heavyweight, right? Heavyweight in it?
Yeah, it's heavyweight.
Francis.
So you got Francis, you got
the gal.
Yeah. So heavyweight pound for pound. Dude, it's crazy because it doesn't even make sense. So you got Francis as the champ. Oh, all right. So Francis and then
Stipe
and Gane. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Yeah, gone.
Yeah, gone.
So you got,
then is it Derek
Lewis?
Yeah, I don't.
And then they got Curtis Blades, number 4. So maybe Lewis and Blades should fight again. But it's hard for me to get behind Lewis because yes, he's a thumper. Yes, he gets tired. How much skill does he have? I love the Kimbo example here, where you made me step back and think about it because. Maybe
that's what I think about. Like when the more I look at more go.
I was gonna say the heavyweight division, it has to be one of the weakest divisions. This is why I would love to see Tyrell Fortune over here because how is Tyrell not involved in this scenario of Blades and Lewis? I would love to see that.
Yeah, but what? How much does Tyrell weigh? Because these guys are behemoths, right?
But Lewis gets tired, man. All you have to do is let him fight air for 2 rounds, and he's tired.
That's facts. That's definitely facts.
And I mean,
you know what I mean?
You've seen some of the leg kicks from Lewis that are wild and crazy and out of control, and he falls. Yes, exactly. Nope. That face you just made right there. That's not it, man. Yeah.
There's another dude that's coming up though, the baby beast, whatever his name is, dude. The dude with the dreadlocks who did like the front headlock, the front somersault. Dude, he's got the kicks. He's like Beverly Hills Ninja, bro. I'm telling you, like,
hey, I like Tui, man, in this fight. I think Tui's gonna go ahead and get another Shuey. That's my call.
Tui Shuey.
Yeah.
Bro, would you do that? What would you do that?
Bro,
you do the Tui Shuey?
You know I'm all about that thug life, baby. I'm gonna take a Shuey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't worried about it.
Oh,
give me that shoe.
Bro.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Mark, would you? Are you afraid of the Shuey?
I'm not afraid of the Shuey. I don't know. I mean, it's just nasty to me. I don't like feet in general. Like,
I don't think you have to drink
I don't know.
Dude. I think you could just.
He's drinking other people's shoes, though.
I think
he's drinking other people. You don't know what happened with that shoe. Where that guy been walking in his shoe all day, and you're gonna drink out of his shoe?
Come on, you could just take the shoe and act like you're gonna drink it, and like just pour it all over your head, and you could get away with that.
But he drinks it. He gets in and does the whole thing. You know what I mean? You gotta get all the proteins and fungus in there, bro.
I don't know, man. Some people live their life differently.
Jeez, I don't know, man. But yeah, with those two, bro, I don't know. I go Tui. I go Tui if it goes past 2 rounds.
I mean, that's a pretty easy call. I'm with you there.
2 rounds, Tui.
Yeah, 2-round Tui for the shoot.
2-round Tui, bro. Gonna get shoot. He's gonna get, that's it. Then who else is on that fight card?
Not a lot of the people that get me excited. I mean, I'm sure other people have their favorites, but I don't really have anybody else that's popping out at me that I'm excited about. So I mean, it's really heavy at the top. Then after that, I'm just not seeing a lot of people that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Well,
who do you think? Oh,
no, go for it.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, there's that new to tack onto that. I mean, just to end it out. Who do you think is gonna win the Amanda Nunes and Pena fight?
All right, to run that back.
We didn't talk about any ladies in here, man.
No, we haven't. We haven't. Let's bring them in. Hey, ladies, we're gonna bring you in real quick. So, Nunes, she quit, bro. That last fight, she plain out quit. Like, she turned to her stomach, gave up her back, got choked, left her neck out, didn't even protect herself. She quit, Mark. And there's no way you can go ahead and look at that and be like, hey, man, that she fought till the last bell, to the whistle.
Man, you're gonna give me the big to that, because honestly, I don't even think that was a real fight, bro.
What happened there? Like, what was that?
I think, bro, because if you watch that whole, I suggest you watch that fight over again, okay? Because that whole fight, before that even happened, Amanda Nunes was in control of that whole fight, top to bottom. She was even Joe Rogan had said it, like she's big sister in her. She's this, there's instances in this fight where she could have finished this fight with a smile on her face. She was smiling during the whole fight, right? And then nobody in her position just stands there and just takes hits like that when she could obviously. I mean, the girl Pena she did not have superior skill over Amanda Nunes, and people are like, well, she was out of, like, no, don't give me that. Don't give me that. Nobody, because if Shevchenko was standing across her, she would have not let her hit in the face like that. She would have not done that. She would have not let her give up her neck. And even if you saw that choke, she was not even choking her. She tapped before she ever set it in.
Mark, and that's my problem with this is, like, I'm a low level jiu-jitsu guy, wrestler. There's no way you're getting at my neck that easily, no matter how tired I am. And I know you're the same way. So when you see that kind of setup and that kind of finish, what is it? Is it a betting favorite type of thing? Like, are they trying to run it back and get more money? Like,
yes,
so good that she wants hype.
Yes, I would say that she's running it back to get more money, because the thing is
there's nobody else.
There's nobody else. Who's gonna fight her, right? So she beats her up. Then who's gonna the next person up? Like, the next person up would be
Pacheco, would be the only person.
Yeah, she's not gonna go up or fight her or anything like that. She's not. I mean, that'd be a great fight. I like Valentina Shevchenko. I'm a big fan of her.
Yeah,
but there's nobody in that weight class.
Murderer.
There's nobody in that weight class for Amanda Nunes, unless you bring somebody over like what's that one girl from Bellator that's killing people in jiu-jitsu right now or something. They're trying to make that deal right now. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. I thought you were gonna bring a sideboard back into it, and I was like, no, let her rest.
What's her name? I'm gonna look her up right now. Bellator women's champion, right? Bellator.
I don't know, but I will go ahead and talk on Pacheco. I love her. She's a killer, and I'm a huge fan. So every time she goes in there and pieces people up, I enjoy myself.
Well, yeah. What Cyborg? You said, Kayla Harrison.
Okay.
Look her up. Kayla Harrison.
All right, I'll go ahead and do my research. I'm gonna write it down right now.
On Kayla Harrison. That'll be the fight but they fight at the same gym.
Oh, it's one of those situations.
They fight at the same gym. This girl she's won she doesn't fight for Bellator. She actually fights for freaking the $1 million one, the PIA or something like that. Fight League. Yeah. PLF or something like that. So she fights for that. fights for that. Like she's undefeated, right? And the thing is that we only fight, and I truly believe within this last fight with Amanda Nunes and Pena, that she gave up the fight. I don't think she actually. I think it was one of those. She threw the fight. She threw it so she can get some more money, because she was like all happy. Nobody's happy. I'm like, oh yeah, she's a good fighter, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, no, don't give me that. Because this next fight, you're gonna see what really happens when somebody's actually fighting, and it's gonna be in topsy-turvy. It's gonna be like night and day. She's gonna probably punch her head off, because there's numerous times in that fight that she could have choked her. There's nothing that she could have done. I just think Mark, skill level.
I don't really have anything to add on to that. I know that you keep on wanting to talk about it. I don't have anything to add, because it was a complete embarrassment of her skill level and who she is. And I was very disappointed with just how it went.
Yeah. I mean, just think of the past fighters that Nunes has fought. She beat the hell out of Ronda Rousey. She beat the hell out of who else?
Out of Holly everybody Holmes. That she's fought has been pure domination.
And those people are better than Pena. And yeah, and I just that's just my opinion, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, it's all facts. I apparently Mark's pissed about the Amanda Nunes, so she better get her shit together.
Yeah, because I was watching it. Now I'm gonna have to watch it tonight and just confirm that I'm not living in the Matrix where I saw something totally different. This is not the Berenstein Bears, it's the Berenstain Bears, and this is some Mandela effect that I gotta get out of my system.
I love it because the way I remember it was just the ending and me just confused. People were excited, so there's like two matrices, if you will, two scenarios. Yeah. There's the people that believed and were super excited, and I was over here just like, she gave up her neck, she went to her stomach, she didn't even fight, she just tapped out. Like, what was that? Like,
do you have those kind
I guess we can relate to this because if we go ahead and run it back from our wrestling experiences, if we saw somebody that we knew, love, and trusted out there wrestling, and that's how they finished like their career or decided to go out, we'd be like, dude, what the fuck was that? Why did we work so hard in the last 3 months?
Yeah,
for you to go do that?
Exactly. I don't. The main thing is that you talk to people, right? And it's coming from the peanut gallery of people that probably have never competed in a physical or combative sport. They're like, oh yeah, like that doesn't turn out that way. Like the physiology and the skill level for somebody to take that big of a dive off the end to drop out, there has to be something really matter in there. And that's not a conspiracy. I've been in matches and I've wrestled, and you don't just like, you can see where somebody gets tired, right? And you can see where somebody just takes a shit and they don't want to be in the match anymore and they just give up, right? But it wasn't skill level, right? But it doesn't even look like that. Like there's like, you just check the hell out. But the thing is in that fight, those 3 rounds or 4, she was in the fight, and then she just stood there and it was like, okay, punch me in the face, okay, get my back, okay, what, like, would this girl just have like kryptonite in her pocket that she just turned her and she just,
even if she was hurt, she would have not have tapped out so quickly. It would have, she would have struggled and like, but she was like coherent enough to like tap out, and then afterwards she got out, she's like, oh, like that's not how this works.
That's definitely not how it goes. Yeah. And anybody who's smart, anybody who knows anything about fighting, combative sports in general, would be like, that didn't look right. Something's kind of fishy about that, right? But that's just my take,
So, Mark, I'm going to go ahead and be first on this one. We're talking about me a myth growing up that we found out isn't true. I'm going to go ahead and I don't exactly have it, but I'm going to go first. So it's a myth growing up that we found out that's not true. I'm going to say drugs. Because when I was in grade school, they have a program called DARE. And it was like basically them talking to us about not doing drugs. Bro, we were like in the 3rd and 4th grade when they introduced this. I was not ready for these conversations. I had no idea what they were talking about, Mark.
Were you a Dear graduate?
I
was.
I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
That's where you go through the whole course and you like, oh, you can identify what is this drug? What is that drug? What is all kind of, and again, like, yeah, I don't know anybody's take on drugs, but it's definitely one of those scary tactics. Don't do drugs, don't do this, McGruff, you know what I mean? And they'll take a bite out of crime type of thing. And I mean, there's so many ways. I mean, the way to educate somebody on drugs, from my standpoint, as somebody who has used drugs in the past, recreationally, in other ways, is not fear, it's education. You know what I mean? And I don't know if Dare was one of the things for me that was kind of, a scare tactic that I don't know.
Mark, they were talking. So the reason why I bring this up, they came in and were like talking to us kids in third, fourth, and fifth grade about this, because it definitely happened in elementary school. And I remember leaving and just be like, what are they even talking about? I have no idea what half of this stuff is. And we have the internet growing up. So like we had to sit here and deal with these thoughts and have these conversations with our other friends. Man, we had no idea what was going on. We just had a bunch of adults talking to us about adult things, and we're like, dude, I'm 8 years old.
I don't know what this is. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things.
And fast forward, to go ahead and look back at it, I was going to the gym the other day, and this lady was from there outside the gym, and she was trying to go ahead and like convince, I don't even know if convince us. I didn't know what she was doing. She tried trapping me and having this conversation, and then wanted me to give her money for like a program or something. And I was like, lady, I'm pretty good with about smoking weed and chilling. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're like completely anti. And I'm like, I think they should be free to do what they want if that's what people want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't even think do they still, I mean, I have kids, obviously.
I don't know. But it was random, Mark. It was outside my gym. I haven't seen Dare or a Dare program in a long time. I just was caught off guard. So Mark, what is your myth growing up that you found out that isn't true?
I would say that you use 10% of your brain.
I love where this is going.
That I was like, man, like that was one of the things where like I only use 10%. Like, what the hell? What's going on? What's the other half of my brain doing? You know what I mean? That you just only use 10% of your brain. So I was like, maybe like I'm not doing well because I only use 3% or something. Something just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you use your whole, you use your whole brain, everybody. If you didn't know, don't just use 10%. Okay.
I mean, unless you get the Elon Musk brain with his new chip he wants to put in your head.
Yeah, Neuralink, right?
Yeah, you want some Neuralink, Mark? Come out to Austin. I'll hook you up, man.
I'm down, man. I'm just plug me right in, dude.
All right. So,
but that's mine, man. I grew up thinking that I can only use 10% of my brain. I would really, just tell people that, thinking I was smart. Like, hey, did you, don't worry about it. We only use 10% of our brains. And I just, come to find out, I probably just sound like I use 10% of my brain to actually say that. No, you use 10% of your brain. We all use all yours.
That's I think we're gonna wrap it up, man. It's Freestyle Friday. I hope everybody had a good time. I know we did.
Oh, dude, it's always a pleasure, man. And yeah, so thank you, everybody.
Nothing's Impossible podcast, baby.
Nothing's Impossible podcast out.